Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to try something new here on the channel. I've been getting requests, when are you going to put up more bat reps for, like you used to, like 2 years ago? I honestly, guys, the biggest issue with bat reps for me is the edit time. So I do test battles here in the studio before big games to basically work out, problems in the rules, things that I want to basically better understand in the rules. I am getting better at picking up the rules and remembering rules now that I'm actually playing again, which I hadn't done for a couple of years. I was basically just building, collecting, and painting. So I'm going to do this thing. It's called mini bat rep. Okay, so when I do my solo battles here, testing out lists, army lists, and I'm testing out and learning the rules better, teaching myself the rules better, I'm going to pick up a camera, since I have a couple extras, and do some play-by-play and narrate. I'm trying to stay away from the dice rolling and explaining the rules and kind of just showing you more of the strategy, since, let's face it, the big bulk of what we do here in wargaming is strategy and list building. Okay, but let me know in the comments below. Be kind. Don't anything ridiculous is going to get deleted off. But give me any kind of feedback. Do you want to see dice rolling? Do you want more of that aspect? The issue, like I just said, is it ends up stretching out the video, and it ends up involving a lot more editing, right, which eats up time. I only have so much time, guys. So I'm going to put this video up for you guys. It's, again, mini bat rep, so to speak. I'm going to narrate it, and then I do have another video I'm going to be putting up here soon from our mega battle group battle. This is a test battle between an American list, roughly 1,000 points, and a German list, 1,000 points. They're both armored infantry, so we're talking they're going to have tank support. Now, during the game, I had 650 points of armored Germans, and they had half tracks. So keep that in mind. This was a preliminary list. We were set at 1,000 points, and then we had a couple other players come into the game, making it 3v3. So we bumped the list totals down to 650 per player. It worked out great. So look forward to that video coming up here soon. I'll be working on that the next couple of days. And without further ado, let's get to the bat rep, and I'll walk you through the lists. Okay, here we are. I'm going to show you the American list. This is just shy of 1,000 points. Now, these blue lined guys here are Browning automatic rifle team. That's a normal rifle team. I obviously have a bazooka. I have a light, actually that was a medium mortar. My M4 Shermans. I also had a light anti-tank gun. This is basically a copy of the same platoon. And this is Overlord Beyond the Beaches lists from the Beyond the Beaches Army list book. Great little book. I couldn't find the hardback. All the new copies are softback, unfortunately. And then you gotta get these on your list, guys. These M5 Stuarts, they're a little sneaky little guys, and they move really quick, and they can get up behind the lines if you play them right. Now, they ended up taking out some of my Panzer IVs. All right, so this is basically 1,000 points, as I said. And I'm going to show you pretty much the deployment. So I got my tanks along the back. I just set this up since it's a test battle, just on the back of the edge, the table edge. There was no reserves and bringing in units bit by bit. That is another option for Battlegroup. Right, you can bring on so many points per round. So got my infantry over there on the German far left flank. I really like how this board setup really turned out. I like the rolling hills. That adds a nice element. So this, using a
14-foot piece of fleece, since this is a 12 by 5 board table. And all that's under there, guys, is just hand towels, right? That's all I needed. So I have a couple of hill ridges there, and this is battle for the control of the road. Now here's the German layout. I love my Panzer Grenadiers. These do not have the half tracks, but you can see I have one platoon of 4 Panthers, and I have 5 Panzer IVs, right, on these lists. And again, there's the layout. It's fighting for the control of the road. The Germans get the first move, immediately moved a Panther up. You'll notice the little card behind there. In Battlegroup, we keep track of the ammo. You don't get unlimited ammo, guys. You have 9 rounds on these, 8 rounds on these Panthers, and you allocate how many armor piercing and how many high explosive rounds you have. And that's all you get for the game unless you pay for a resupply vehicle to come up and resupply you. And that's on your list that you can purchase. This list, I did not purchase any of that. Now here's the Stuarts coming up the American left flank. I'll show you a perspective here as the Panzer IVs move up. Those Stuarts were going to try to flank them. I went ahead and parked this platoon of M4 Shermans behind the woods, thinking I'd do some sort of a pincer movement or ambush. There's the cabbage patch, I call it. We've got a medium mortar team and an anti-tank gun sitting there. I also have one of my observer teams. That's my Browning automatic rifle teams there in the blue, and regular rifle teams moving to the woods. Now here's the other list. That is another platoon of Shermans. I'm going to be moving those up that right flank. Since I saw the Germans were not going to their left flank very far, they were pretty much moving up the middle. So the idea was to try to flank them to the right. So I'm moving up my infantry. I'm slowly moving that gun up to that dugout position behind those. It's basically a pile of brush is what that green blob is. If you were wondering, now I'm just moving my Panther up, and I'm moving my Panzer Grenadiers up to take those dugout positions and also to position themselves in the woods. Put the Panther with the leader, one of my officers. He's parked in the woods. And that Panther is really moving up and being very aggressive, so is the other one there. So they're really pressuring the Americans, right? I'm continuing to move the Americans up that right flank, and spreading out my Shermans. There's a lot of rules of thought here, or points of reference onto how to deal with Panthers with Shermans. One is to move right at them and get behind them. I didn't see how I could do that with the Panzer Grenadiers behind them. They had Panzer Schrecks and Panzerfausts. There's a board's view. I moved up the medium mortar. Right, they're going to spot that Panther and fire on it. There's one of my prototype farmhouses, unpainted. That's fresh off the Giddy printer. There's my bazooka. Turns out 6-inch range. I don't know. My game list I had for the big mega battle, I completely dropped those because I just don't see that they're useful unless you're in a city environment and you're in close range. Which, if you're in a city environment, I would not be taking tanks in there. Right, so limited usage with your Panzer Schrecks and your bazookas, I think. Now here the Stuarts are, sticking to the original plan. They're moving up this left flank, gonna get behind these Panzer IVs. There's a nice view right there. Those are Panzer Schreck teams, 2 Panzer Schreck teams coming up that flank there. Now here's a view from the Shermans. It's their turn. We're going to pop off some shots. I don't think there was anything successful. So yeah, this is tough, and we'll get to the mega battle. I'll show you how some of the players that played allies, some of the interesting things that they did, and they could have won the game, the allies, in that mega battle. I'm not going to reveal the ending. You have to watch till the end. So I got my Panther coming up. He's coming right up to that cabbage patch. I mean, he's really putting pressure on them, and they fell back. All right, now his machine gun did take out my spotter team. And you see there that the bazooka is on ambush. So you definitely don't want to waste HE shells when you can use your machine guns. There's another Panzer Grenadier group with their MG34s. I got a medium mortar team. They're coming up to take the woods. There's 2 more mortar teams. Usually I love my mortar teams, guys, but for the mega battle I dropped them off the list as the final list. So you see the Panzer IVs are reacting to the Stuarts. Panther takes out a M4 Sherman, as you see there by the smoke. Right, it's so hard when you've got these big German tanks out there, but as you'll see in the mega battle, there's some interesting things happened, and it comes down to skill and play, guys. A lot of these guys that are coming to play here in the studio are really good players and good list builders, and it's teaching me a lot, which is a great thing. And it makes it funner when you have good competition, right? So the Panzerschreck teams are coming up. And you see there, they really can't pop off a shot. Also, they're just out of range. But you can see the effect of these hills. And by using fleece and putting something under the fleece, you can see it makes the hills a lot more realistic. And scanning back across, you can really see how the Panthers have moved up and really threatened them. Now here's what the Stuarts did. They made an immediate right turn. They shot up the road and they end up getting some nice little side shots. Now there's my dead spotter team, and those are the chits you pull, guys, when you lose units, right? And I put them face up. Normally they're face down because you have a battle rating. Each list has a battle rating. And at the end of the game, you add up the chits and you subtract those off of your battle rating, and that can help determine who won the game. As you can see here, the M4 Shermans just moved into the woods, thinking, well, we get some extra cover. Didn't work out so well. The Browning automatic rifle teams have moved up. I'm realizing, what can I really do? Unless I do a tank assault, which is really hard to pull off. So you can see here the Allies here, the Americans, really starting to fall apart. I'm really starting to think that this list is not going to cut it. Not against this German force. So I started flanking with my M4 Shermans up that right flank, which was it was really gonna start working good that way, and I was just gonna machine gun the infantry, the German infantry. You see, we have a wonderful place to play. It's so peaceful down here. We got usually a good movie or a good video on. All right, purpose built for wargaming. So we got some more shots popping off here. These 2 Panthers are going to start squaring up with these Shermans in the woods. So here, this was a classic push, definitely an offensive push. Now you see the smoke from the shots, but you see that they took out 2 of the Panzer IVs with doing side shots. Very effective, but there's that second layer. I usually try to layer my tanks if I can. Depends on the circumstance as a defensive measure. But you can see here, I got my cards. I have them laminated so we can check out all the stats through the game. So definitely pick up the cards if they don't come with one of the books you purchase. The newer books do not have cards in the back anymore, guys. They want you to buy packages of cards. Now this is the difference in Battlegroup that's different from Flames War, guys. You see how it's more of an X instead of a T on figuring out your side armor. That's really important difference in this game. Now there's your rules help cheat list, so to speak. And just some shots there from where I'm thinking I'm going to move these Panzerschreck teams over. They just don't have the range, right, to really be effective in this type of scenario. So those were dropped in the final list. So the backup team here, the two Panzer IVs and the mortar teams start throwing shells at the Stuarts and end up cracking a bunch of the Stuarts. So you got to really hit and run with the Stuarts. I would have probably rather have reversed and gone back the other direction that they had just come from and kind of run from the Panzer IVs, but I didn't have the opportunity. So now we got a Panther coming over to directly confront the Shermans, right? So I didn't get that pulled off before a Panther came up and fortified that left flank. The German troops move into the woods for cover. Again, the gun teams have Panzerfausts, and I do have two Panzerschreck teams in those woods now. There's my mortar teams. They're popping some shots off at the infantry, opposite infantry in the woods, not really hitting much. It's hard when they've got that cover. So again, in the final list for the mega battle, I dropped the mortar teams off of the list. Now you can see what happened to the Shermans in the woods. They just got annihilated, basically, from two of the Panthers and one, that Panzer IV there. All right, so at this point, I'm saying it's over. As you can see, the devastation of the Stuarts. I pulled the plug on the game. And thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next video.